Welcome to the Comedy Punch channel, you freaky funsters. My name's Andy, and in this pandemic shutdown, I've decided just to tell jokes to you people, because let's be honest, we're all being encouraged to stay at home. And unfortunately, when you do that, you kind of get a little bit of stir crazy. You feel trapped, you're not encouraged to go out and mingle anymore like we normally do. So our lives feel a little bit messed up. And that can sometimes lead us into a bit of depression. And because of that, I thought, why don't I just tell you good people out there some jokes? Because it's hard to feel down, despondent, isolated so much when you're having a good giggle. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, speaking of this pandemic and the fact that we're all in lockdown, about 2 months ago I went to the doctors myself because, it wasn't because I was feeling well. And when I got into the doctors, he looked at me and he said, "My word, what happened to you?" And I said, "Well, that's why I'm here, doctor. You see, I had a black eye and a big fat lip with a cut in it." And I said, "The other day I was at home and I heard a knock at my door. I undid it and there was a 6-foot tall cockroach stood there. And he just punched me in the face." And the doctor said, "Yeah, there's a nasty bug going round." So let's get started with the joke, shall we? There's this little old lady, she's driving down the road and she's doing far more speed than she should be. And because of that, she draws the attention of the local police. He pulls up behind her, this young copper does, puts his blue light and siren on, pulls her over, walks up to her window and he said, "Is this your car, ma'am?" And she goes, "No, actually it's not." She goes, "I stole it. In fact, I carjacked it." She said, "I held a gun at the man's head, whose car it is." She says, "I ended up shooting him. His body's in the boot of the car," she says, "and the gun's in the glove box over there." The copper's instantly worried and straight away calls for backup. Before I know it, the car's surrounded, there's armed police there. And this old sergeant walks up to the car and he said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I'm going to ask you to step out of the car." And she says, "Oh, that's okay, no problem." He said, "Is this your car, ma'am?" She goes, yes, it is." She goes, I've got the documentation in my purse if you'd like to see." He goes, "Okay." And she pulls out the documentation, then she gives him her driving licence so he can compare the two. And he goes, "Do you mind if I look inside the car, ma'am?" She goes, No, I've got nothing to hide, help yourself." So he gets in and undoes the glove box, and it's just got the usual paraphernalia that you'd expect a woman of her age to have in there. So he says, "Do you mind if I look in the boot?" She goes, No, not at all." Undoes the boot. It's completely empty except for a few shopping bags and a few odds and ends. He lifts up the bottom part and it's just the spare wheel in there. And he goes, "Well, I can't understand this," says the old sergeant. He says, "We got a call from the copper who pulled you over, and he said that you claimed that you'd stole this car at gunpoint, you'd shot the original driver and put him in the boot of the car, and there was a gun in the glove box." And she goes, "Oh yes, and I bet you he also said that I was speeding." Well, it might take you a while, but that's a way to start getting points on your licence, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, let's carry on, shall we? So there's this guy, and he's lost pretty much everything. He's really down and out. His wife had left him, he lost his job, his kids have abandoned him. He's got hardly 2 halfpennies to rub together, and he's just despondent. He's living in a crappy little bedsit. And he's just so down and out on his luck, and he's walking hunched along down the street with his hands in his pocket, feeling miserable for himself, not really paying attention to where he's going as he walks down this alleyway. And he steps on a bottle, blue in colour, slips, does a complete pratfall, whack, smacks his head on the floor, gets up rubbing it, looks around to see what had caused his accident, sees this bottle, kicks it and it shatters, and a genie appears, as often they do in jokes. And this genie says, "I am the genie of the blue bottle, and you've freed me, so I'll give you one wish." Still rubbing his head and not sure what's going on, he says, "Well, I just wish my luck had changed for the better." And the genie disappears. And he looks around and he goes, "Oh, great, that's brilliant. Not only do everything else go wrong in life, but I smacked my head and now I'm having hallucinations." And he carries on trudging down this alleyway with his hands in his pockets, and he looks down and he sees a £20 note. He goes, looks around, see if it could belong to anybody, and thinks, well, finders keepers. Picks it up, puts it in his pocket, carries on walking. As he's walking down the high street, he passes a Buc-ee's on his left-hand side, and he's just looking in the window and he sees a name jumps out at him, and it says, "Blue Bottle Genie, 200,000 to 1. And he's like, that can't be right. They'd never have a horse running with those odds. It's got to be a three-legged donkey. But he thinks to himself, you know what? Easy come, easy go. He takes the £20 out of his pocket and he goes in and he pays on the nose for the Blue Bottle Genie to win. The woman behind the counter laughs at him because the odds are so massively stacked against this horse, even starting the race, never mind finishing it. Anyway, he sits there in the Buc-ee's watching the race, and it romps home. It romps home first. And just weird things happen to the other horses. One falls over, loses his rider. Another one just runs off in the wrong direction. Until in the end, this absolute nag crosses the finishing line first. He's like, I can't believe it. I'm rich. Well, I'm not rich, but I've got a lot of money. I could do all sorts with this. Or I could get out of that crappy bedsit. I could find myself, set up my own little business, and maybe my kids will start seeing me. And he's thinking of all the opportunities with this, and he goes, maybe it wasn't freakish. Maybe my luck has changed for the better. Maybe a genie did grant my wish. And then he thinks, I know. There's a beautiful Indian girl living in the flat below me. I'm just going to go up to her door, knock on the door, and I'm going to say, I want to make love to you. And if she says, come on in, and invites me in, and it happens, I'll know my luck has changed for the better. But if she slams the door in my face and tells me to clear off and stop being a pervert, I'll know things are pretty much the same, but at least I'll still have the money. So he's got a bag full of cash and he's stuffed it all in his pockets, and he marches back to where he's living, goes up to this flat of this Indian girl, knocks on the door. She undoes the door and she's just wearing a dressing gown, and he goes, I think you're beautiful and I want to make love to you. And she says, oh, come on in. Anyway, they're both stripped naked, they're on the bed now, and he fails to raise to the occasion, shall we say. He's having problems. Just Mr. Floppy is not behaving. And she looks at him and she goes, what's the matter, darling? Why, what's going on? He goes, I'm sorry. He says, I can't concentrate. That's distracting me. And she says, what's distracting me? And he says, look, I don't want to be insensitive. I know it's part of your religion, that. He says, but it's that spot there that you've got in the middle of your forehead. It's just distracting me. And she goes, well, you silly man, just rub it off. He goes, really, you won't mind? She goes, no, just rub it off. So he goes, bloody hell, I've won a car. It looked like he couldn't do anything wrong. His look really had changed. So, there's this old boy priest and there's this old boy rabbi, and they're sat on the park bench and they've known each other for decades. They met when they were young men, when they were first in their respective religions, and they've always kept in touch. They meet up every now and then. Today it was in a park and they're feeding the ducks, and they talk about all sorts of things that are happening with the local life and what's going on in their own parishioners. One is a Jewish and one is Catholic, and the Catholic priest goes quiet for a bit and he just leans back and he looks around. And he says that they're on their own, and he leads into the rabbi and he says, Jacob, can I ask you a personal question? And the rabbi says, Jeremy, we've known each other for decades. I don't think there's anything you can't ask me. And he says, yes, but this is really personal. And he said, no, that's fine. Ask away. I might not answer, but I might. So he said, look, in your Jewish religion, you're not allowed to eat pork or pork products, such like. He goes, oh no, the restrictions are far more than that. He goes, I know, but I'm just concentrating on that. All the time that you've been on this earth, have you never eaten any pork products? And he goes, well, he looks around and he said, between me and you, when I was in my 20s, I went to a party. I'd had a few drinks, he said, and there was sandwiches and snacks all laid out. And he said, and I didn't know when I picked up this sandwich and ate it that it was ham. And he said, it was very tasty, but I didn't know. And when I found out that it wasn't kosher, I was upset with myself, but it's the only time that I've ever eaten any pork product. I've always kept to my religion and to my beliefs from that day to this. And it was really a mistake. And he says, oh right, he says, did you enjoy it? He says, oh yes, it was very nice, but never again. So the rabbi looks around and he says, Jeremy, can I ask you a personal question? He goes, well, of course you can. It would be very churlish of me not to allow you to ask me a personal question after I've asked you and you've answered it. He said, you being a Catholic priest means that you have to be celibate. You just can't indulge in sexual acts. Has that been true all the time of you being a priest? The priest looks around and he said, well, between me and you, when I was first ordained into the order, I had a crisis of faith. And I was at a party and I'd had far too much to drink, and I was chatting to a very attractive young lady, and we ended up going upstairs, and I'm ashamed to say this, but we did have sex. It's never happened since. I regained, or that was the jolt that made me see that my faith meant more to me than that. But yes, I did. And the rabbi leans in and goes, it's better than ham, isn't it? I often say in these few videos that I'm doing about the thanks that we owe to those in our society who are going above and beyond in this lockdown situation that we're in this pandemic, this virus that's floating around and is quite deadly. There are too many really for me to just list them all. I mean, for instance, we've got the pharmacists who are opening longer hours, such like, so that they can serve the communities and fill those prescriptions that some need that are life-threatening for them. Blood pressure, heart medicine, asthma pumps and such like. If these pharmacists didn't do that, what do you think the people who need those medicines would do? It would be far graver than it is now. But unfortunately, there are some in our society who, and in this crisis, we are going to see the best of people, and we're also going to see the worst of people, because some people are behaving atrociously, to be honest with you, abusing pharmacists as though it's their fault that all this is happening. That's just wrong. But I think we should say thank you to them. In fact, all of those that we come into contact with who are still keeping the supply chains going and helping us out, it doesn't cost you anything to be polite to them. In fact, it's welcome everywhere, politeness. So just say thank you, smile, be polite. It's not hard. But that said, I think they all deserve a big thank you, and I myself have done it personally, and you probably want to as well, just to say thanks for being there, thanks for doing what you're doing. So having that said, you people out there, please stay healthy, stay at home as much as you can, do the self-isolating, because it will help prevent the virus from spreading. And just remember, Jesus loves you, which is a great thing to hear when you're in church. It's not such a great thing to hear if you're in a Mexican prison. Hey, take care of yourself, stay happy, have a giggle, and be honest with yourself. This will end, and we'll come through it, we'll be stronger for it, because we are a great society. So take care of yourself. Bye-bye now.
Oh, this you crazy mother.